Hey, what's up everyone? Finally getting the YouTube video underway, the YouTube channel. I decided to start off my YouTube channel with a Q&A because I thought it'd be an awesome way to kind of kick it off and get to know me before you watch any of my other videos. So, without further ado, I'm going to open up these questions here. Are you a self-taught artist, and what artists influence you most? I am a self-taught artist. I I did take classes when I was younger. I took like studio art and drawing and painting 1, 2, crafts, and then I took like design my first year of college because you need an art requirement. But I've been drawing my whole life, so like I did stuff like that, but I never like went to art school or anything. I just enjoy doing it and enjoy trying new things, and so that's how I've always been, how I've learned just different techniques and stuff. As far as artists who influence me, there's like 3 that are like big influences. One especially right now with the new style that I've been doing. But first one is Monet. I think the impressionism of the like landscapes that he does is amazing. And I also do like palette knife paintings of landscapes in a similar way. I think it's cool that like little strokes like that kind of look like a mess and jumbled when you're close up, and then you back up and it makes a picture. It's like really cool. So that's my first one. Banksy, who does kind of stencil propaganda graffiti art all over, was a huge influence on me as well. Love the work, love how bold it is, love how clean it is, and I was introduced to him when I was in like 9th grade, not the actual guy because no one knows who he is, which is pretty exciting and cool. But my English teacher showed him to me, and I was like, wow. I actually have one of his books over there. That's why I keep looking over there. And then the third one is probably the one who's most influential in the work I'm doing now, is John Perello, or Perello. I'm not really sure. It's a double L. Follow him on Instagram and started seeing a lot of his stuff, and it was like kind of that drip graffiti, really bold colors, sometimes limited palettes, and I was like, you know, this is the stuff I want to do. Because like in art class, you always thought there's rules and it has to be like realistic and it has to be this and it has to be that, and I was like, the whole point of art is for there not to be any rules, and I've always wanted to try art the way he does art, and I was like, you want what? I'm just gonna do it. So I started doing it, and that's the art that, if you're following my art Instagram, which is courtp1453_art, that's the type of stuff that you're seeing now, is like that drip, kind of like abstract, just like very bold work that I'm doing now, and that's influenced by him. And so far, that's the most fun I've had painting and doing art in like a very long time, if ever. So I really love it. What was your best adventure/hike? I've gone on quite a few, and 2 come to mind. One of them is my second OEP trip as a staff member instead of a student, which is up in the Adirondacks. It's a 2-week trip, and we went up there and kind of like taught other college kids outdoor skills such as canoeing, pitching tents, yada yada. The whole like first week in like a cabin type of camp area up at Antlers, and then the second week we broke them down to smaller groups of about like 8, and they went out with a senior trip leader and then a student staff member, and I was a student staff member, and I went out with my group, and it was so awesome, and I had so much fun with my group, and I really learned a lot from my senior trip leader, Mary. And it was really cool because it kind of helped me see what I want to do exactly with my outdoor recreation like degree that I'm gonna receive this coming May. It's just a trip that basically really like changes lives. Like there's no electronics. Like we take their phones when they get there the first day, like the minute they get there. So you really have to like connect with people and connect with the environment instead of being on your phone thinking you're actually connecting with people. You know, it's face-to-face conversation, you interact. So that, and it was a beautiful trip. It was fun. I mean, it did downpour sometimes, but it was worth it. And learned a lot, had a lot of fun with my group. And I don't know if you can even see back there, but some of the pictures are actually back there behind me from that trip. Then the other one that I'm going in between, like trip, and this one was my first solo hike I ever did. Was in New Paltz, which is right by where I live, and it was up in the Mohonk and Lake Minnewaska preserves, and it was the Bonteque Crag Trail. It's a rock scramble, and I love rock scrambles. Like, they're my favorite type of hike because they're like more intense than just like, oh, I'm just gonna like walk down a path, which are nice to do depending on like your vibes. But I love doing rock scrambles where it's like kind of a full body like intense activity. So I remember like finding it myself and going up there myself, and it was cool because it was like a super nice day, but there wasn't that many people out. And so I got to the top, and I just remember like, oh, I did that by myself. I adventured by myself, and I love going out with other people, but it's nice to kind of like do it at your own pace and stop when you want and enjoy the scene when you want and not feel like you're rushed. And so that's what that was for me. And getting to the top, there was like maybe 2 other people there, and then they left. And I sat up there for so long. I sat up there for like at least a half hour, I think, and it was awesome. And yeah, those are my top 2 as of right now. I plan on going on more. Happiest/great experience in your life so far, because I know you'll do great things in the future. Love you. Love you too. That's a really tough question. Greatest, happiest experience in my life so far. I think I'm going to have to go with getting top surgery. And the reason being that everyone's like, oh yeah, you got top surgery, like woohoo. The reason being, for really, really, growing up as trans and knowing that you're a boy your whole life and you're in a body that never felt like yours, and being that way for like 23 years of your life, every single day, 365 days a year, is like tiring sometimes. I always look at the bright side of things, but sometimes there are those bad days where your mind just like gets the best of you, and you're like, why am I like this? Why did this happen to me? And stuff like that. But I always, like I said, I always try to stay on the positive side of things. But every single time like you wake up in the morning and you're getting dressed, you look down and you see your chest, or when you shower, or like when you have to go to the bathroom somewhere, like at a public place, and you have to be like, oh no, like, do I pass well enough, or something like that. When you have your chest, you're just self-conscious about it all the time, and you never notice, and like you hunch over a little, and you're like, oh, I'm not hunching, like I'm fine. And so going through that like every single day, and like going to the mall and going shopping and not being able to buy something because you like it, you have to like, does it have a pattern across the front that'll like hide my chest? What color is it? What type of material is it? So that it doesn't hang and fall on my chest. And all these things that you have to think about like constantly day in, day out is just tiring. And I remember like I was just waiting for the day when I could just put on like a white t-shirt. I just wanted to wear a white t-shirt. That's like all I wanted. And so I remember being able to put that on, and it was like the best feeling in the world to be able to do that. And then like I went walking on the walkway with my sister, the walkway over the Hudson. It's like by us, it's this walking bridge over the Hudson River. And I remember like when the wind would blow like at the beach or something, and my shirt would go against my chest, I would like hunch or like try and pull it off because I didn't want it to like like round over and you could see my chest. And I remember the wind blowing when I was walking, and I went to go pull my shirt off my chest, and for the first time I was like, I looked down and I remembered I didn't have to, and I could just let it hit my chest and like wrap my shirt around my body, and like that was one of the coolest feelings in the world also. So like my happiest, greatest experience I think would be that, because I am so comfortable in my body now. I mean, I was kind of comfortable before because I worked out and like I'm healthy, so like everything else about my body I love. It's just the parts, the female anatomy that I was struggling with. And so now that like I have top surgery, it is so much better, and I just love it so much, and I'm so thankful. Do you have a phobia? I do. I actually do have a phobia, and I feel like not that many people know about it. But I've had it since I was a kid and never knew what it was called. I never knew what it was called, and it was just like it's just thinking about it like sends chills down my spine and just makes me cringe. But it's the trypophobia, which is like the holes, like the honeycombs, or like if you look like at bread hole, like a hole in bread or a bagel, like oh my gosh, I can't. I'm just like ugh. Like that has gotten me since I was like a little kid. I can't deal with it. So that is my phobia. What has been the most positive change in your life from last year? Wow. The most positive change in my life from last year. Stuff. I would have to say learning to let go. I'll have to say learning to let go. Um, because I've been in a few situations in terms of like people I was like talking to or had feelings for, and something comes up where it's just like either they had a boyfriend or they don't want to talk about things in a romantic way, only it's like occasionally, or they like when I do it and they don't want to like reciprocate, or something, and just kind of letting go of that toxic type of relationship, because it really messes with your head. Like I'm very when I'm going into like a relationship or something, or talking to somebody, I'm very much dedicated to one person. So when it's like that, it's hard to like let go when things go sour, I guess you could say. So I've really been better at coming to terms with that and kind of being like, this is for a reason. Do I want this in my life? Do I, you know, do I need this? What's the positive part? What do they give me that actually makes me feel good, that makes me feel better? And kind of really like working through that and deciding whether or not it's best for me, pretty much. And so being able to do that has helped me tremendously going into like this year, for sure. So feeling a lot better about things like that. So that's probably the most positive change. It's my mindset in terms of those situations. What is the nicest thing a stranger has done for you randomly, and what's the nicest thing someone that you know has done for you randomly? So what a stranger has done for me randomly. I'm not sure there's any like big thing that a stranger has done necessarily. Maybe donate to my GoFundMe, but which is really amazing. That was an awesome thing, for my like top surgery and being able to get all my supplies and yada yada. But I would say even just like the little things, like everyday things, like holding the door open for me, like thank you. It's so nice to like just be able to walk up and do that. That's why I make sure I do it for other people too. Like I actually genuinely feel bad if I don't hold the door open and someone's coming. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, and they're like, it's okay. Like they think I'm crazy, but I really like it's just a nice gesture, like to not have the door be closed in your face. So I would say something like that. Um, or the guy who told me that my wallet looked like it was gonna fall out of my back pocket. Thank you for saving me a world of trouble, because that would have been so terrible. Um, but then the nicest thing that someone I know has done for me, one of my other friends, Amanda. This one is one that lived on the same floor as me, like down the hall in college, and I love her so much I can't even explain to you. She is probably one of the most genuine, if not the most genuine person I know on this planet. She's my wife, Amanda. All of them have nicknames so that when I'm talking about them, my family can understand which ones they are. So she actually heard about me and my GoFundMe like since the beginning, and she saved up as much as she could to put into my GoFundMe, and she saved a lot, and I'm so blessed and so thankful that she did that for me, and she was like, I really wanted you to have this. And I cried my eyes out for about 10 minutes when I found out that she did that for me. And I'm just extremely grateful. That was probably the nicest random act that someone that I know has done for me. Does it get better? Hell yeah. I say yes. You will get to a point in your life, even if it's like for a couple seconds. That's what people do. I think a lot of people don't think about. It's like those little moments of like greatness and happiness. That is when it's better. People expect like your whole life to be better and your whole life to be better for like a long time. And for me, when I think of does it get better, I think of all the little things that happen in your day that are great. Like I don't know, for instance, I was having a really bad, like, I was just, like, having a bad day, and I was very stressed out, and I was driving, and then I was, like, driving, and I was going to the grocery store, and there's this one light that, like, takes forever to turn you into the grocery store, and I was, like, at the back of the line, and I was like, oh, it's gonna change, I'm gonna have to sit at this light again, and I didn't have to sit at it again, and I was like, you wanna know what, that was the good thing for the day. I was like, I didn't have to sit at that freaking light again. But stuff like that, even like just a nice like moment with your family, or a nice like moment of like peace and quiet for yourself, and nice anything, like you have to kind of just pay attention to the good stuff. A lot of people don't do that anymore. A lot of people are like, there's so much bad in the world going on, and that's what people tend to look at most. And so I think in terms of, for does it get better? Yeah, it gets better. It definitely does. There's always going to be struggles, though. So really try and look for the good stuff. Thank you, everyone, so much for sending in your questions. I'm so happy that I decided to start a YouTube channel and kind of connect with you all. That's really why I wanted to start with a Q&A, to just get to know me. I'm really excited about doing this. I think it's really fun, and I can't wait to do another one for you. Alright? I will see you on, I don't know. I'm going to say on the other side, because who knows if it's going to be next week. I don't. Anyway, see ya.